Tiffany Henyard has a new battle on her hands.
She is being evicted for not paying her rent, and now her landlord is talking about her past tenant troubles.
At some point, you would have to understand that karma is going to catch up to you.
It's a power grab. That's it.
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor, has become a controversial figure following a series of extravagant expenditures, leading to her forced eviction from her own home despite her affluent lifestyle. While many local officials are dealing with political fallout, Henyard's story has taken a dramatic turn that no one anticipated. It raises an urgent question about accountability or the lack of it. In a nation increasingly mired in corruption before the eviction, Henyard appeared to be living large, enjoying a lavish lifestyle that stood in stark contrast to the struggles of the people she was elected to serve. Months before her eviction, she was seen in Las Vegas, indulging in luxury. Despite the mounting challenges facing her constituents, including hard-working council members facing expulsion, Henyard had no shortage of wealth to flaunt. The mayor's lavish spending habits included a personal police detail valued at over $1 million and an eye-popping $88,000 budget for beauty treatments. Her indulgence in first-class travel, luxury hotels, and high-end dining raised eyebrows. One particularly extravagant trip to Las Vegas saw her spending $8,400 on hotels, $3,700 on a round-trip flight, and another $600 on a dinner at a top-tier steakhouse. Meanwhile, the people of Dalton, Illinois, where Henyard holds office, struggled with daily economic hardships as she poured money into her opulent lifestyle. Henyard also focused on her public image, splurging on campaign billboards to increase her visibility. But the narrative took a turn when inquiries began into her use of local funds and her disregard for fiscal responsibility. As pressure mounted, it became clear that her political survival, as well as her luxurious way of life, was now at risk. In addition to her political troubles, Henyard now faces financial and legal difficulties. Since her landlord raised the rent in August, she and her partner, Kamal Woods, have been embroiled in an ongoing battle. Court filings show that Henyard allegedly refused to allow her landlord to inspect the property, despite owing $3,350 in unpaid rent. When the landlord filed for eviction on September 18th, it seemed that Henyard's once lavish life was unraveling despite claiming to have ample funds. Henyard's actions suggest otherwise. She and Woods appear to have prioritized luxury vacations and expensive indulgences over paying their rent, which has caused a rift with their landlord. In the summer, the landlord was forced to increase the rent by $200, raising it to $2,400 a month to cover rising property taxes. Woods, however, allegedly refused to pay the increased amount, claiming that it was unaffordable. The situation reached a boiling point when Henyard and Woods refused to respond to eviction notices or communicate with their landlord. The landlord, who had recently lost her job, now faces the prospect of losing her own home due to the couple's refusal to pay rent. The frustration of the landlord, identified as Hull, was compounded by the fact that the eviction process had not gone smoothly. Despite multiple attempts to serve eviction papers, a process server was required to track down Henyard and Woods. As local authorities were unable to deliver the notice, Full expressed the growing frustration of Dalton residents who felt let down by their elected mayor. Many citizens watched in disbelief as Henyard's behavior led to the complete collapse of her political standing and financial stability. Once a figure of power and prestige, Henyard now faces a harsh reality, as her lavish lifestyle and disregard for basic responsibilities have put her on a collision course with both the law and the people she was supposed to serve. As the eviction saga unfolds, Henyard's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power, the consequences of personal excess, and the need for accountability in public office. The viral nature of her decline raises important questions about the role of integrity in leadership, and the fallout may have far-reaching implications for her future.
At some point, you would have to understand that karma is going to catch up to you.
As Mayor Tiffany Henyard's term continues to unravel, the ongoing eviction dispute over her home has only added fuel to the fire of scandals surrounding her leadership. What initially seemed like a personal issue regarding unpaid rent has evolved into a broader symbol of the failure of her administration. Henyard's days at her residence seem to be numbered, as the property owner, evidently fed up with the situation, has placed her on a month-to-month lease, signaling an end to her time at the property. However, the dispute has come to represent much more than just an issue of unpaid rent. It encapsulates the growing frustration with Henyard's leadership and the erosion of public trust in her governance. Henyard's term in office has become synonymous with unchecked power, chaos, and mismanagement. Accusations of irresponsible taxpayer spending, attempts to block transparency initiatives, and an ongoing FBI investigation have left many residents questioning her ability to lead. For many in the community, this eviction isn't just about housing. It is a failure of leadership. It highlights the disconnect between Henyard and the people of Dalton, raising concerns about her dedication to the position and the moral foundation of her administration. The situation has caused increasing doubt among locals about her ability to lead with integrity. Henyard's spending habits have been a point of contention for years, with reports suggesting that public funds were being misappropriated to support a lavish lifestyle that stands in stark contrast to the financial struggles of Dalton's residents. While citizens have struggled with insufficient public services, rising debt, and a lack of resources, Henyard has been seen jet-setting to luxury destinations, dining at high-end restaurants, and hosting extravagant events. Reports of such spending, allegedly funded by taxpayer money, have left many feeling betrayed and angry. This stark contrast between Henyard's lifestyle and the needs of her constituents has caused a deep rift between her and those who once supported her. The gap between Henyard and the public has only widened as a result of her administration's larger dysfunction, which is marked by a refusal to take responsibility. The ongoing eviction dispute over her home is a glaring example of how her personal comfort and image seem to take precedence over the well-being of the community. This failure to address basic issues, including rent payments and lease requirements, reflects the broader pattern of disregard for responsibility that has plagued her leadership. Transparency has also been a major issue during Henyard's tenure. Watchdog groups, journalists, and local trustees have repeatedly attempted to access financial data, only to be met with resistance and denials. Legal battles have been fought to uncover the truth behind her administration's finances, but Henyard has continued to obstruct efforts at transparency. Her refusal to provide the information requested, even when ordered by higher authorities, has only fueled the perception that she is hiding something. In the case of her eviction dispute, this pattern of avoiding accountability is again on display, as Henyard's failure to handle basic responsibilities mirrors her approach to more significant governance issues. At the same time, an FBI investigation into Henyard's financial dealings has only intensified the scrutiny surrounding her leadership. Federal officials are reportedly looking into allegations of financial mismanagement, political intimidation, and the misuse of public funds under the guise of philanthropic efforts. This investigation, coupled with the ongoing eviction dispute, has highlighted the troubling parallels between Henyard's personal and professional conduct. The growing body of evidence suggests that Henyard has been acting with a sense of impunity, believing that she is untouchable despite the mounting criticism and legal challenges as residents of Dalton grow increasingly frustrated with Henyard's leadership. Many are calling for her resignation or removal from office. The belief that Henyard has neglected her moral and legal obligations has sparked widespread outrage. Critics argue that her actions are indicative of a broader effort to avoid scrutiny, citing her repeated vetoes, delays in responding to requests for transparency, and allegations of political intimidation. Despite the mounting pressure, Henyard has continued to reject calls for accountability. Further alienating herself from the public, she was elected to serve the narrative of Henyard as a victim of unfair persecution, which she has attempted to portray, has become less and less convincing to the public. As more accusations surface and confidence in her leadership continues to erode, the situation in Dalton looks increasingly dire. The eviction dispute, far from being a mere personal matter, has come to symbolize the deepening crisis in the mayor's office. The mayor, once seen as a powerful figure, now finds herself at the center of a growing storm of controversy for Dalton, a town already grappling with financial difficulties, malfunctioning services, and debt. Henyard's leadership has only exacerbated the community's woes. The eviction dispute, the FBI investigation, and the mounting accusations of misconduct all point to a broader issue. Henyard's leadership has failed to meet the needs of the people. As the drama surrounding her personal and professional life continues to unfold, residents are left wondering how much longer the turmoil will last, and whether any resolution is in sight. The administration's dysfunction is now on full display, and Henyard's position seems increasingly untenable. Her refusal to take responsibility, coupled with her extravagant spending and lack of transparency, has left her isolated. Even her supporters have largely remained silent or distanced themselves from her. The growing frustration among Dalton's residents, along with the increasing legal and political pressure, suggests that Henyard's time in office may be nearing its end. This eviction dispute, though it may appear to be another chapter in her long history of scandals, is quickly becoming the tipping point that could mark the final act in her troubled tenure as mayor.
I think the money is worth it. The cash up front, it's not worth it. I would have rather rented to someone who, is an honest person and goes to work.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard's time as Dalton's leader has been clouded by a long list of scandals, investigations, and mounting controversy. Her ongoing eviction crisis, while personal, has only served as the beginning of a broader series of accusations that extend far beyond her home. One of the most damaging allegations against her is the mismanagement of Dalton's finances, a problem highlighted by an investigation led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. The inquiry uncovered a troubling $3.65 million deficit in the town's general fund, painting a bleak picture of financial mismanagement in a community already grappling with limited resources. In addition to this financial crisis, the FBI has launched its own investigation into Henyard's administration, uncovering a range of accusations, from her indirect involvement in a sexual assault case to claims of wrongful terminations. These revelations have only intensified the growing public outrage surrounding her alleged abuse of power and have placed her leadership under increasing scrutiny. The mounting allegations, combined with her refusal to address basic community needs, have led many residents to question her suitability, as Mayor Henyard's tenure as supervisor of Thornton Township has also come under fire, with township trustees joining the chorus of voices demanding transparency regarding her financial activities. Critics argue that her handling of public funds is a flagrant misuse of taxpayer money, further aggravating tensions among local residents. These concerns have fueled widespread calls for Henyard to step down. One particularly troubling allegation comes from local business owner Lawrence Gardner, who has publicly claimed that his trucking company was forced to contribute $3,500 to Henyard's campaign in exchange for a village license. Gardner alleges that after he stopped contributing, his license renewal was abruptly denied, suggesting a pay-to-play scheme that exploits local businesses. The FBI has reportedly interviewed Gardner and other disillusioned Dalton residents as part of its ongoing investigation, adding further pressure on Henyard as the federal probe widens, adding to the controversy. Henyard's nonprofit organization, Tiffany Henyard Cares, has been heavily criticized for questionable practices. The Illinois Attorney General's office issued a cease and desist letter after the nonprofit, which was supposed to support cancer sufferers, failed to submit required financial reports. Critics have questioned whether the organization was truly serving the community or being used for personal gain. This revelation has further tarnished Henyard's reputation and raised suspicions about her intentions as a leader. The growing perception of Henyard's government as one marked by self-interest, secrecy, and a lack of accountability has left many Dalton residents feeling deceived. They had hoped for progress under her leadership, but instead, they are facing a series of allegations that paint her as disconnected from the struggles of the community. Henyard's activities, ranging from extravagant travel expenses to prohibited luxury purchases, have led to the belief that she prioritizes her own enjoyment over the well-being of Dalton citizens. Meanwhile, critical issues like infrastructure, education, and public safety have gone largely unaddressed despite the increasing public discontent. Henyard continues to portray herself as the victim of political attacks. However, many locals find this narrative hard to believe, given the harsh financial realities they are facing. Allegations of excessive spending, the misuse of her nonprofit, and reports of businesses being coerced into donating to her campaign paint a picture of a leader who is increasingly out of touch with the needs of her community. Her refusal to address these concerns has only deepened the sense of frustration among residents. Henyard's seeming opposition to transparency has only heightened tensions with village trustees and watchdog groups who have struggled to obtain spending records. This stonewalling has led to legal action and state intervention to compel her to comply with requests for information. This pattern of avoidance has become a hallmark of her leadership style, fueling the belief that she is trying to conceal unethical behavior and financial mismanagement. For taxpayers, the lack of transparency feels like a betrayal, especially as Dalton faces significant challenges in areas like infrastructure and public services as Henyard's leadership continues to crumble under the weight of mounting allegations. Many are left wondering how much longer this drama will drag on. The FBI investigation, the growing public dissatisfaction, and the unresolved financial crisis have left Dalton's future uncertain. Henyard, once seen as a powerful figure, now faces an ever-worsening situation, with her credibility and support rapidly eroding. Despite her attempts to frame herself as a victim, the mounting evidence against her and the continued pressure from both federal authorities and local residents make it increasingly clear that her time as mayor may soon come to an end.
Get more interviews out of me. As long as y'all good to me, I'll be good to you. I have no issues. I just wanted people to say my side of the story and not just paint me as bad news, because it's not the truth, and y'all been witnessing it yourself.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard's tenure has been plagued by scandal, mismanagement, and controversy, with her financial struggles and legal battles taking center stage. Despite facing multiple lawsuits, an ongoing federal investigation, and an eviction notice, Henyard has consistently denied any wrongdoing. Her spokesperson has claimed that she is unaware of any FBI probes or subpoenas, which seems increasingly difficult to believe given the mounting accusations. With her reputation in tatters and her political career hanging by a thread, many are left wondering how long Henyard can cling to power once seen as a powerful figure in Dalton. Henyard's status is quickly diminishing, and many are questioning her ability to continue leading. Her name has come to represent trouble, with residents and political insiders alike wondering how much longer she can remain in office as her leadership falters. This doubt has only grown as Henyard's actions continue to draw attention, and she seems to be surrounded by chaos at every turn. The recent Democratic caucus for Thornton Township, which was held to select candidates for leadership roles, was a turning point. For the first time in 30 years, the caucus process was used to select candidates, and it led to a surprise outcome. Henyard, hoping to secure the supervisor position, was disqualified from the ballot due to a critical mistake. She failed to include a professional assessor on her slate, a requirement for the caucus. This disqualification marked a major blow to Henyard's political aspirations. When the caucus reached its boiling point, Henyard's political allies fractured and her slate collapsed. The situation became even more humiliating when State Senator Napoleon Harris, also the Thornton Township Democratic committeeman, capitalized on the chaos to solidify his position. Harris orchestrated the caucus process and ultimately won the crowd support, leaving Henyard largely ignored and sidelined. Henyard, unwilling to accept defeat, stormed the caucus location, visibly upset, accusing Harris and his team of unfairly rigging the process. Dressed in a bright pink outfit, she was defiant in her anger, but her outburst only added to her downfall. As Harris made the official announcement of his nomination, the crowd erupted in applause, and Henyard was met with chants of "Nah, nah, hey, hey," kissing goodbye as she left the venue. This public humiliation seemed to cement Henyard's political demise. She then tried to rally support, bringing in buses full of followers from Thornton Township. However, her efforts backfired when many of the buses were late, leaving her supporters stranded outside. In a fit of anger, Henyard accused the process of being a form of voter suppression, claiming the entire caucus was illegal. She even threatened to sue those involved, though legal experts, including Harris's attorney, dismissed her threats as baseless. Harris's attorney, Burton Oldson, clarified that the caucus was a legitimate and democratic process, and Henyard had no legal ground to challenge it. Despite Henyard's fury, the caucus was seen by many as a fair and necessary step to ensure leadership that was in touch with the needs of the community. Although Henyard continued to decry the process as a swindle and illegal, the legitimacy of the caucus was upheld, and Harris emerged victorious. The fallout from this event has left Henyard's political career in even greater jeopardy. While some of her supporters still hold out hope that she can turn things around, others are starting to distance themselves, recognizing that her time may be up. As Henyard's rivals, including Harris and Harvey Mayor Christopher Clark, prepare to step into leadership roles, her remaining followers are divided. Some continue to believe in her ability to pull off a political miracle, while others are now applauding her downfall. The path forward for Henyard is unclear. The only option for her to remain in the race would be to run as a write-in candidate, a long shot at best. Many locals argue that Henyard's political career has been defined by scandal, poor decisions, and an inability to govern effectively. As Dalton and Thornton Township continue to grapple with the fallout from her leadership, the prospect of change seems inevitable. Chris Gonzalez, the Democratic nominee for Thornton Township trustee, expressed a desire to move forward and restore order to the township. "We want to get the township back on track," he said, "and back where we feel it should be." His comments reflect the growing consensus that Henyard's approach to leadership, accused of being reckless and careless, has done more harm than good. The once powerful figure in Dalton is now at a crossroads, with her political future hanging in the balance. The chaos surrounding her leadership, combined with the ongoing federal investigation and the fallout from her failed bid for re-election, has left her with little support. The town's future is uncertain as residents and political insiders wait to see how much longer Henyard can hold on to power. Change is on the horizon for Dalton and Thornton Township, and it seems increasingly likely that Henyard's time in office will soon come to an end.
You or your administration, y'all need to go.
Mayor, you might as well step down too, because I'm tired of that too.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard's time in office has been marked by increasing allegations of poor management, financial mismanagement, and a growing list of scandals. Critics claim that her administration's actions have been detrimental to the very residents she was elected to serve. From misusing township resources to failing to hold meetings and address basic community needs, Henyard's leadership has been under constant scrutiny. The situation has become so dire that some of her staunchest critics are now openly calling for her resignation. Henyard's tenure has faced significant pushback, especially from residents and trustees who feel neglected and frustrated by her handling of the town's affairs. "You should step down as mayor because your administration is failing," said one critic, highlighting the ongoing concerns about Henyard's inability to effectively govern. The recent boycott of meetings by trustees, such as Gonzalez and Carlisle, reflects growing disillusionment with Henyard's leadership. Their absence from meetings is a harsh but clear statement of their disapproval, stemming from what they perceive as Henyard's ambitions to consolidate more power for herself. Henyard's critics argue that enough is enough, and that it is time for the mayor to step down. They point to her control over hiring and firing procedures, which they believe gives her excessive influence over the local government. Gonzalez has voiced concerns about restricting Henyard's financial influence, further fueling the narrative that she is more interested in personal gain than in the welfare of the community. In her defense, Henyard claims that the situation is a result of obstruction rather than mismanagement. She argues that residents are left vulnerable because they lack insurance, and that the trustees' boycott is an attempt to undermine her leadership. However, many locals see her claims as just another example of her trying to shift the blame for problems that she has contributed to. Legal threats made by Henyard are widely seen as desperate attempts to hold on to power, while others, including trustees, have earned praise for standing up to her leadership despite her defiant stance. Henyard's administration has left Dalton in a state of turmoil. From financial difficulties to a lack of basic public services, residents feel their needs have been ignored while Henyard focuses on her own interests. Critics argue that her lavish spending on self-promotion, luxury travel, and expensive meals funded by taxpayer dollars is a blatant disregard for the struggles of Dalton residents. Many believe that her actions have only worsened the town's financial situation, leaving the community in limbo. The stakes are higher than ever, especially with the future of Thornton Township hanging in the balance. Henyard's ability to overcome mounting opposition and guarantee her spot on the ballot remains uncertain. She has been known for avoiding difficult situations, often going silent when scrutiny increases. So it came as a surprise when she made a quick statement following a damning report released by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Lightfoot's preliminary assessment of Dalton's finances revealed troubling details about the town's financial instability. The report uncovered a staggering $3.65 million deficit in Dalton's general fund, coupled with allegations of unregulated credit card use, misuse of taxpayer money, and questionable expenditures on perks and self-promotion. The findings paint a grim picture of financial mismanagement, leaving many residents wondering how much longer Henyard can maintain her position. One of the most shocking revelations from Lightfoot's study was that on a single day, $40,000 worth of Amazon purchases were made, with no clear record of what the money was spent on. The report also highlights a significant increase in police overtime spending, with some officers raking in overtime pay that far exceeds their base salaries. One officer reportedly earned $188,000 in overtime last year, more than doubling their $72,000 base wage. This raises serious questions about the management of Dalton's finances, especially considering the town's already precarious financial position. Despite these troubling revelations, Henyard has remained largely silent, avoiding questions from the media and keeping workers in the dark about her whereabouts. Trustees like Brittany Norwood have raised concerns about the lack of transparency in Dalton's financial records, worried that the town's debt may be much larger than originally reported. Norwood has been outspoken about being denied access to bank statements, which further fuels suspicions of financial misconduct within Henyard's administration. The most serious accusations against Henyard involve her alleged misuse of public funds for personal gain. Critics point to her use of taxpayer money to fund expensive billboards, dinners, and lavish travel. In addition, the recent controversy surrounding Lacey, the deputy chief who was placed on administrative leave after pocketing $96,000 in overtime pay last year, raises further concerns about the management of Dalton's resources, with creditors pressing for payment and the town's cash reserves dwindling. Lightfoot's report paints a picture of a community in financial crisis. The concerns raised in the report suggest that Dalton's financial woes may go beyond simple overspending and reflect a more systemic lack of accountability within Henyard's administration. As the public demands answers, it remains to be seen whether Henyard can weather the storm or if the mounting evidence will finally catch up with her. The situation in Dalton is far from resolved, and with increasing calls for Henyard's resignation and an ongoing federal investigation, her political future appears uncertain. As the town grapples with its financial troubles, many are left wondering whether Henyard can overcome the mounting opposition and the growing calls for accountability. The stakes are high, and the outcome remains to be seen. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more updates on this ongoing story.